Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. It has been a long time since I've used the Trixie Cosmetics Horse Girl Eyeshadow palette. I mean, we have this absolutely gorgeous artwork and then this really beautiful palette. This palette is perfect for the summertime. We have some of these really beautiful warm pinky tones, of course, with some of like the pops of blue. Then we have kind of like a shifty shade over here, if you can see how it's going from like a blue to a brown. But what I thought about doing is, at first I was just going to do 2 looks, but I think I'm actually going to do 3, and I'm going to just do like a little quads here, just to make it kind of simple. Just do this little quad, and then this little quad. I just want to revisit this palette, especially since this is in my next No Pan Left Behind round, and I just want to knock this palette out, and this is a good way to do it, and also film it and revisit it. This should be one of my all-time favorite palettes, really, because for the artwork alone. I love horses. They're beautiful. So I'm going to zoom you in and we're going to get started. Okay, on a Sigma E54, I am going in with the shade Hey Girl, and I'm going to place that right here in the crease. The pans in this palette are really large. This is the only palette I have from Trixie Cosmetics. I know that brand does a lot of colorful palettes, so when she released this palette, I knew that I wanted this one because it is more on the neutral side. It just has like a little bit of pops of pink and that one little pop of like a really soft teal, but other than that, it's pretty neutral, which of course drew my attention to it, but regardless, no matter what the color story was, I was going to buy this palette anyway, simply for the artwork alone, because how can I resist a cute palette that has a horse on it? In fact, what's that brand? Singe Beauty? I'm not sure if Singe Beauty is cruelty-free. I think they are. But there's a palette from that brand that has a horse on it. Now, the horse isn't like the focal point, but there is a horse on the palette, and you know how many times I've had to pull myself away from that palette simply because of that reason? That probably sounds intense, but I love animals, and I love when they're featured on makeup products. That's one of the biggest reasons why I really love those Hourglass palettes that, well, I know last year they didn't really do the animals, they did other stuff, but I hope they go back to having the animal packaging like they were doing, because those are so beautiful. I just love any time makeup has animals on it. I love it so much. That is blending out really beautifully. It's been a long time since I've used this eyeshadow palette, but I do remember liking it. I know I have a video here on my channel where I first tried it out, and I included like swatches and everything in that video. I'm not sure how many looks I did, and honestly, I hope that I didn't do the same thing I'm doing now in that video, but I mean, it's okay because I'm just revisiting this eyeshadow palette, so, you know, I don't know what looks I created in that particular video. I don't remember if I kind of mixed them up or what I did, but I just kind of wanted to keep it simple and go by the quads. So on that same brush, I'm going to take the shade Hoedown. You know, I didn't even pick this for my summer palette basket, and I don't really know why. This is a perfect summertime eyeshadow palette. And I must have just overlooked it in my collection, or I didn't really think about it being a perfect summer palette, but it absolutely is. So I'm glad that it worked out, that it was chosen for my next No Pan Left Behind. I let a random generator pick out those palettes, by the way. If you've never seen my videos, I have a whole series here on my channel. I always have the playlist linked in my description box. I have a couple of playlists there, in case there was like a certain type of video you're interested in. Yeah, these are blending out just beautifully. I just keep going back in between with a Flawless Concealer brush from e.l.f. just to make sure everything's nice and blended, but really they're blending themselves. I really don't have to do much work at all, which is good. I love how warm these shadows are, and I think that more like teal kind of shade is going to be really pretty with these warm tones. If I decide to do 3 looks instead of 2, then there probably wouldn't have been a video this past Wednesday. Maybe a short. I might would have posted a short instead. I'm unsure at the time I'm filming this part. It's Monday when I'm filming this, but if I film 3 looks per day, then it'll be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I probably won't get this video out for Wednesday. It might go up Friday instead. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, and then I'm going to take the shade She Biscuit on my finger, and we're going to pop that right here on this beginning portion. This is a beautiful shade. It's so pretty. It's like this beautiful sea foam kind of color. And I love it with that really warm, intense, like those more warm tone neutral shades. It's so pretty with them. I went back in a little bit just to build it up some. Yeah, that is a beautiful shade. I mean, this palette is just so easy to work with. It makes me sad that I haven't used it in such a long time. And you can kind of see the strap here a little bit on this, well, it's kind of like a romper and a dress that I'm wearing. And this shade, I feel like matches this perfectly. You can see the strap a little bit of this, well, I don't know what exactly you call it. It's like a romper, but then there's also like a dress part over that. I'm not sure exactly what you call that. And in the description box, I will have timestamps for you below in case maybe you have this palette and you're wanting to see a look created with a certain shade. So what I'll do is I'll have like look 1 and then the shades I use in parentheses and then of course the timestamp. But oh, I love this. I just love that pop of teal kind of seafoam color with these warm mattes. I don't know, maybe it doesn't look that great to somebody else, but to me I think it's pretty. I like the contrast, you know, with each other. I think it makes them both stand out. I'm going to go in with my Smashbox and Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector in Fair Light, and then I'm going to take my Versed Skin Solution Serum Concealer in the shade 2N. I'm going to go ahead and do that so I can finish up this lower lash line with you here on camera. You know, I'm working on hitting side pan in this, and I think I'm slowly getting there because you can kind of see where the pan is extending this way. Hopefully, there you go, maybe you can see it better. So I'm hoping I can get side pan eventually on this product. It is one of my favorite correctors. Okay, I'm going to take the shade Hey Girl again, using that same Sigma brush. And then I'm just going to run that all along my lower lash line. You know, I forgot to mention that these shades are a little bit powdery in the pan. They do have a little bit of a kick up. It doesn't bother me at all, but I like to mention that, just in case it might bother you if you've never tried this palette or this brand before. But they are like really softly pressed, but I feel like they have a lot of pigment to them. They're so easy to work with. Like, this was just an easy look to create. And then on the same brush, I'm going to take the shade Sugar Cube. This is kind of like my skin tone shade a little bit, but it does have some sparkle in it, so I'm just going to pop this right in here. You can see it adds just a little subtle pop of brightness. I didn't want to set my eyeshadow primer with it because it did have that sparkle. I mean, that would have been pretty too, but I more so wanted it on this inner corner part because I think it adds just a little subtle pop of brightness. It almost looks like a peachy color, and I think that goes so well with the overall eye look. So I just want to pop it right here. Yeah, this is a really pretty eye look. Like, I really love these tones together. Okay, so I'm just going to go do the rest of my face right quick, and I'll be right back to show you the completed look. Okay, so here is this completed look. I think it's so pretty. I love these warm tones. Now, what I'm wearing right quick for blush, I'm wearing the Say Do blush in the shade Hottie. I'm not wearing a lot of it. I really sheared it out with my sponge this time. I just wanted like a little bit wash of color here, if you can see. And then on the lips, I'm wearing the e.l.f. Cream Glide Lip Liner. This one is in the shade Cinematic. This is one of my newest shades that I picked up recently from Ulta, and I love the shade of this. It was so pretty on its own. But over the top, I do have the Say Glossy Bounce Lip Oil in the shade Splash. I just think these two make a really pretty warm combo. Really do like that. So now that I've completed this look, we're going to move on to look number 2, and I'm definitely going to be using all 4 of those little pinky shades right in the center. Okay, day 2, and we were going to be focusing on these 4 center shades here in the palette, which are these really beautiful pinky tones. I love how this one's kind of like a rosy brown tone, because if you can see in my shirt, these beautiful horses on this shirt are almost like a rosy brown, so I figured this would be the perfect shirt for this particular look. So let me zoom you in, let's get started. On a Sigma E54, I'm first going to take the shade Western Pleasure. I tried to tap off as much excess as I could because I am wearing a white shirt and I don't really want to get makeup on it. I really love that look I did yesterday. Everything was just so pretty. It blended out really beautifully, no issues whatsoever. You know, I know there's a blush that went alongside this palette. I think it's like this really intense hot pink. I've often thought about picking it up, but I just haven't done so. I'm not sure if there was anything else. Was there maybe like a lip product with this collection? I'm not sure, but I don't believe there's a horse on either of those, so that might have been what kept me from purchasing them in the, like, when I bought the palette. I'm not sure. Honestly, the blush might be about this color, like right here. I think it is like a hot pink shade. Just wanted to add a little bit more before I take that Flawless concealer brush and just kind of go back around that a little bit. So I know some of it got out here, but I'll be cleaning all of that up with some concealer in just a minute. These are some really pretty pigmented shades, but they are easy to blend and to work with, so you don't have to worry about kind of, actually I might have put too much on that side compared to over here, but we'll see. I feel like they do blend out really easily though, like when I take this Flawless concealer brush, like it just really blends them out. So they are really easy to work with. See, it blends out really easily. I just took like a skin tone shade and just went around the edges of that. On that same Sigma E54, I'm going to take the shade Stirrup Trouble, and I'm just going to press this on this outer edge of my lid. Okay, and I'm just taking that Flawless concealer brush and really blending that out. I love this brush for really going in, and this shears out the pigment, so if you like a lot of pigment, you're not going to want to do this step, but I prefer to shear it down a little bit, because these shades are really pigmented, especially this little center quad here. These are some really rich shades. Okay, I'm going to take the same shade, I'm going to place that over here. And then of course, I'm going to go back in with that Flawless concealer brush and blend that out. Okay, and then I'm going to take the shade Hot to Trot on my finger, and I'm going to place that right here in the very center of my lid, meeting up with that brown matte shade, or rosy brown, I should say. This is turning out to be almost like a ruby eyeshadow, not so much pink, or I should say like a ruby eye look. I don't know why I was thinking it would be more pink. I guess when you're looking at it in the pan, but they end up pulling a little bit more red on the eye, at least on me, so you know, if you're not into these kind of tones, probably definitely won't be into this look. And then lastly, I'm going to take the shade Rodeo Queen, and I'm also going to take that on my finger. Oh, this is a pretty shade. I might end up just covering everything with this. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, I am. I'm going to kind of go over where I just placed that other shade, just to kind of break up some of that more red looking tones. This adds like this really pretty gold, kind of like, yeah, like a pretty gold kind of tone to it. Peachy gold almost. I think red eyeshadow can be so pretty, but I don't know, on me, I think sometimes it can make me look a little bit kind of sick, you know? I'm just not someone that can really pull off these kinds of shades, but I think they're very pretty. I just don't think I can pull them off, so I want something like this to kind of really break up that red, and I like that a lot better. This is really pretty though. I really like how really warm and fiery it looks. I don't know why I was expecting this to be more pink when it is in fact more red. Very pretty though. Okay, maybe like a cranberry, like this outer part. Okay, same old. I'm going to use my Smashbox and Becca Under Eye Corrector and then my Burst Skin Solution Serum Concealer. These are just in my everyday makeup drawer for the month, and that's why I'm just trying to get as much use out of them that I can. Okay, I'm going to go back into the shade Stirrup Trouble, and I'm going to run that all along my lower lash line. I didn't pick up too much of it. These are some really beautifully intense shades. And then I'm going to go into the shade Sugar Cube, and I'm going to pop that on this inner corner. This shade does have a little bit of sparkle, so it's really pretty. Of course, I will say, by the time you apply it on your eye, like the manner I'm doing, a lot of the sparkle kind of goes away and it performs like a regular matte, but you can still see some of the sparkle. Yeah, I really like the eye look better after I added that Rodeo Queen shade. Don't get me wrong, that Hot to Trot shade is beautiful, but I feel like combined with this, it was a little too red for my liking. I needed something to kind of balance it, and I really love this very intense warm. This is like a cranberry eye. It's very pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to do the rest of my face, the rest of the makeup and everything, and I'll be right back to show you the final look. Okay, so here is this completed look with the mascara, and then I did add my Makeup by Mario eye pencil in the perfect brown. I did add that like in the waterline and on the outer edge of the lash line. For the cheeks and the lips, I'm wearing the e.l.f. Sheer For It blush tint, and this one is in the shade Pink Positive. I love these. I want all the shades. I want all the shades. This is stunning. I love it on the lips. I love it on the cheeks. This is just perfect. I really do love this one. I mean, I really believe that if you tried one of these out, if you were interested in them, I don't think you'd be disappointed. I think they are amazing. I love the way, I like how thin this formula is, so it's just really easy to blend out, but I think it goes really pretty with this eye look too. Okay, on to the third and final look. Okay, another day, another horse shirt. Actually, this is the only other one I have. I only have two. I wish I'd had three because then I could have worn one for look one. But either way. So we have 4 more shades left. So on a Sigma E54, I am going to start with this shade Giddy-Up. But what I'm going to do, because this shade I know is going to maybe be a little too deep for my crease, I'm going to mix it with sugar cubes. So I'm just going to tap maybe once or twice and then tap once into sugar cube. It might not be as deep as I'm thinking, but something tells me it is. So I'm just going to tap a few times in that and then tap once into sugar cube. Then I'm just going to run that into my crease. I can always build it up if I need to, but I'd rather build it up than go in with too much too soon. I wish now I had mixed sugar cube with that pink shade yesterday, that Western Pleasure shade, because that shade was just a little too deep for my crease. Luckily these shades blend out really easily, but I kind of wish I had done that. I'm just going in with a little bit more of both of those shades. And then, of course, I'm going to take that Flawless Concealer brush and go around the edges of that shade, or those shades. And we're going to do the same thing over here, just mix those two shades together, which works out perfectly. I wish now I'd done that yesterday. Yeah, I like how soft that is. Like, it's just really soft and subtle. Now this next shade is a shimmer shade, but I'm going to try to pick it up on a brush so I can kind of keep it in more of a precise location. And that is the shade High Horse. And I'm going to place that shade right out here. Oh yeah, it's applying pretty well with a brush. I just kind of wanted to keep it in a more precise location, so I didn't really want to go in and use my finger, but you totally can, because it would probably really intensify this shadow even more. Of course, I'm fine with just this. And do the same thing on this side. Yeah, I'm getting along a little bit better with the shades today than I did yesterday. I think now, I wish that I had mixed in that shade, that pink shade, the one that I went in with my crease yesterday. I wish now I'd mixed that with the sugar cube shade because I feel like I would have had a lot easier of a time. I mean, don't get me wrong, by the end the look turned out really pretty, but it was my fault for going in with such a strong shade in my crease. But luckily these shades do blend out really beautifully, but I wouldn't have had as much blending to do if I had mixed them. Okay, this next shade I'm torn because I know I want to apply it with my finger, but then I also want to kind of keep it a little more subtle. Okay, you know what? Let's just go in with my finger. I'm going to take this shade right here, Main Character, and if you can see, it has like a shift to it. It does feel more like a topper shade anyway, so this probably will be better to apply it like this anyway than with a brush. It's pretty. Kind of see how that shifts like almost like a blue and like a teal kind of color to the brown. Yeah, that's really pretty. I really like that. Okay, and on that same Sigma E54, I am going to take the shade Colt Classic. This is the last shade in the palette that I haven't used yet. Now this is like one of the deepest mattes, so I'm just going to take that brush and tap just a little bit, and then we're going to run that along my lower lash line. For my under eyes, I just used that same Smashbox and Becca under eye corrector and then my Versed concealer. Just use the same things that I've been using. They're in my everyday makeup drawer, so I'm just trying to get some use out of them because I will soon be filming for my next everyday makeup drawer for July. Yeah, see, just a little subtle because this shade is deep, so I just tap like once and then really tap off that excess and then go in. I could have used it as a liner too. I almost did that, but I said I'll just do this instead. And then I'm going to take the shade Sugar Cube one more time, and I'm going to pop that in the inner corner. It's for a little subtle pop of brightness. Okay, I really like this look. It turned out really, really pretty. So I'm just going to go do the rest of my face and I will be right back to show you the completed look. Okay, so here is this completed look. And now I have officially used all the shades in this palette, and right quick what's on my cheeks is I have 2 more shades now of the Sheer For It blush tint from e.l.f. The one I'm wearing here on both the cheeks and the lips is Left on Red. And then I also picked up the shade Plums Up. I haven't tried this one yet. I just picked these 2 up yesterday at the time I'm filming this. There are 5 shades in total. I now have 3 of them and I definitely want all the shades. This is so beautiful. I mean, look how beautifully this sheers out on the cheeks, and this is like a red because you see how pigmented it is on the lips. I didn't apply as much on this part. I mostly kept a lot of the pigment on the lower lip, so that's why the top lip looks a little bit lighter. But you see how pretty that sheers out on the cheeks. It's perfect. I love these. But now I can say that I have completed this palette in my No Pen Left Behind, and of course I got a chance to revisit it. It is a really beautiful palette. I will say that the 4 shades in the center are not my personal favorite. I do like this one, which is Rodeo Queen. I do like this one, but some of these shades like this, they're very beautiful, but sometimes on me, they're just not my favorite. I don't know. Personally, I could have done without these 2 shades right here and just had like these, and then maybe 2 other more neutral leaning shades. Yes, I know that's probably very boring for most people, but I do love neutrals, and when I think of horses, I do think of neutrals anyway. I don't think of like pinks or reds or anything. I do think of neutral tones, but all in all, this is a really beautiful palette. It's very easy to work with. Even the shades that are incredibly pigmented, if you want to blend them out to be a little bit more subtle, you can do that. This formula does allow you to do that, which I do like that, because I'm definitely someone that I don't wear a lot of pigment with the eyeshadows. I try to keep it kind of soft. That's just a personal preference thing though. If you love intense pigment, you can definitely get it with this palette, but this is a stunning palette. I'm so happy that I did revisit it again. It's really beautiful. I did like all the looks. The second look wasn't my personal favorite, but I still think it was a pretty look, and if you are into those kind of red pink tones, you will absolutely love it. Now for me, I love more of a pinky peach, not a pinky red, and I think that's one thing that's so different about these is they're definitely pinky reds, and I'm not the biggest fan of those. I like this shade because it's like the pinky peach, and that's my favorite type of, well, pinky warm leaning shade. I am glad though that I got a chance to revisit it again. It is a really pretty palette and it is still available, so I will have it linked for you below. Now that will not be an affiliate link. Of course, I always in my description box, I always mark if something is not an affiliate link. If it doesn't say not affiliated, then just know it is an affiliate link, but that won't be an affiliate link at all. That's just a link for just in case you are wanting the palette and you just want to quickly click through. It's not affiliated. But I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you are alerted to all my future uploads, and follow me on Instagram at jessicadeerly. All of these products will be listed and linked for you below. They are affiliate links, so if you click through and purchase, I do earn a small commission, and if you choose to do so, thank you so much for supporting me and my channel, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!